who is your current favorite cover artist? Now, getting an answer from Batman on this was like trying to get a kidney out of your estranged stepbrother that hates you. Like, because he does collect so many different comics from so many different eras. He's like, I don't know, man. But I finally
There's so
got a
many good
single
ones out
answer
there.
out of him, and that was Frank Cho.
Ooh.
So I'm interested
Sorry
to
for
hear.
that random. Sorry for that random noise alert.
No, you're good.
Talk amongst yourselves. I'll pull up some receipts of something with Frank Cho that I just got, which I'm really excited about. But you guys
Oh,
talk about
nice.
this.
But yeah, so why Frank Cho, Batman?
I mean, I appreciate the fact that you asked me that question because it really made me think. Because you said what threw me off the most wasn't picking or whatever. It was current. Current is always difficult for me because I'm like, because off the top of my head, my favorite Batman artist, like cover artist, is Neil Adams. Everything Neil Adams I have. I love his artwork. Love it. Every depiction, I was like, whoo. But when you ask current, it was like, Peter Moko's up there. And then I was like, oh, Frank Cho is really good. Like the current Poison Ivy covers, they're fantastic. They're fantastic. Every time I picture one coming out, it's exactly what I want. It hits the areas that other artists are kind of missing, where it kind of shows the simplicity, but at the same time, it makes you want to engage and read this book, because whether it's Punchline, the Punchline covers are fantastic. Harley Quinn covers, fantastic. Everything Frank Cho is putting out right now, I love every cover so far. Don't get me wrong, there's tons of great current artists, but right now I think Frank Cho is hitting the mark every time.
I'm pulling up some Neil Adams covers. You guys know I love my job as stat boy. Kind of working the back ends. So I'm pulling up some of my favorite. I mean, the classic Neil Adams. Like, can't go wrong.
I can't.
When I picture Batman in my head with no other visual cues, I picture Neil Adams artwork.
Thank you. I have all these books, but by the way,
love this cover because I know it's an homage to the
Detective Comics.
Yeah. Oh, which is what, like, that's like 30. You might even have that book probably. It's like a 30.
No, that was like 39, 38 or something like that when that came out.
That's a
years. The original years.
So yeah, Neil Adams is just
he really understood Batman. I think that's what really got me. Like I didn't, like I was telling you before with my origin, I didn't really like get into Batman until I watched the Batman animated series. After that, because I was born 92, that show came out what, 92?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was maybe like 4 or 5 when I started like kind of like getting into it. And then by 8, I was obsessed. And I was like, yo, Batman is the coolest. He has no powers. And he's beating Killer Croc and Clayface and Mr. Freeze and Joker. Joker's always been an iconic villain, but Bane personally was always my favorite.
Bane. Loved Bane. I got so excited when I remember 2011 and the trailer started coming out for Dark Knight Rises. And I didn't remember, this is probably now 2011 is Twitter's around, but that's about it. Facebook is whatever. So we don't have all the things that we have now, the access to talk about this stuff and break it down and the things that we have now. And so I remember just sitting there online watching the trailer and be like, wait, is that Bane? And I'm like, wait, what? I had there was no, the leaks weren't out there. This is pre all that stuff. It might have even been 2010. I don't know. But yeah, those are all good ones. This is a book I just picked up from Frank Cho, signed cover that I had to get. When I saw it, I was like, there's such a Frank Miller influence there. And I had to have it. So,
and it's like big, broody, bulky Batman too. That's cool.
Yeah,
the Miller kind of tribute to the Dark Knight Returns. Like, that's still one of my favorite stories.
Well, and I think everybody knows what I'm about to say for my favorite. If you know me at all, you know exactly what I'm about to say for my current favorite cover artist, and it's Peach Momoko.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, watercolor is insane by itself when it's done well, but I've never even thought about looking at watercolor artwork for comic books, and the way she does this stuff is outstanding.
Yeah.
100% agree. Like nobody else is doing that type of work. I remember when I first saw a cover, I was like, "Who is this?" I was read it, and I was like, "Who?" Somebody had to tell me because I saw the little sign that she always
Yeah, her
writes.
signature. Yeah.
Who is that? Somebody's like, "Oh, it's Momoko." I was like, "Who's that guy?" And it was like, "No, it's a girl." Huh? Peach Momoko. I was like, "Peach?" Yeah.
And I mean, she's undeniable at this point. She's her first year in 2021. Well, she debuted in 2020, and then in 2021, she ended up winning the Eisner and the Ringo for Best New Artist.
I saw that. And then she's exclusively for Marvel, correct?
Right now, she's under contract with Marvel, but she's still doing covers for Image. She's still doing covers for Dark Horse and a couple other companies too.
Yeah, because she released only, I think, 9 or 10 different DC covers, and then she signed with Marvel. That's why I had to get all the DC ones. I was like, Batman, Robin. I had to get all
there's very, very few DC covers from Peach Momoko. I've got one of them. It's a cover of Deceased, but it's got Poison Ivy on the cover.
Oh yeah, that's Poison Ivy. What is it? Number 3? I forget. But
yeah, not from the current run, but from the previous run she had. But yeah, and then I've seen a lot of people like, I don't really like Momoko stuff. It looks too weird. I'm like, what's too weird about it? Like, I'll agree for certain covers, it doesn't necessarily always work, but when she's allowed to do what she wants to do, I mean, there's a couple different indie covers right there, one for Power Rangers, one for Blade Runner.
I mean, have you seen her new Darth Vader cover? Variant cover?
Oh yeah, I think I have.
And so this is the stuff that I love. Like, look, I think modern comics can be daunting, right? With all the variants and everything that comes along with it. But I do love when you can get a different look of your favorite book. I think that's where variant covers are at their best, right? Like to kind of have someone that's not in the run per se, like, I'm thinking the one thing I can think of is the current Spider-Man run, which I know everyone hates, but it's Zeb Wells and JR. And but if you Google like those first issues, there's all kinds of variant covers there. So if that is your favorite current series, it's just amazing. And I'm pulling up the new Darth Vader. I mean, it's breathtaking. I think it's just that's where variants can be really cool, where it's like, hey, I love this book. I want to get an alternate look. Also, what she does, I don't even know what little hidden treasures are in here currently, because clearly it's some kind of like Monet style situation where I'm sure if you zoom in really close on that cover, there's all these things that pop out because clearly Vader's mask is not just a mask. There's like all kinds of
Right. It
things
almost looks like it's got bars and it's holding something behind it. Like I bet if you zoomed in real close, there'd be something there.
It's interesting too because her covers always remind me of a piece of art. Because like for example, when I first saw that cover, I was like, man, this is cool because it resembles kind of like a skull, and at the same time represents Vader for being like the symbol of death, because nobody really crosses Vader in the comics.
Not if they want to walk away.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, because Vader's, when we see him in the movies, he's very lumbered, he's very old, he's slow, he's clunky, but in the comics it's young Vader in his prime when he's still really mad.
Well, he's always mad.
Well, yeah, he's always mad, but you know what I'm saying, like he's at like peak power at that point.
Yeah,
in the comic books.
The comic books for Vader too, also filled in so many gaps, which is amazing. But I'll shut up.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, you don't get a whole lot of backstory with Star Wars characters, especially ever since Disney bought them out and said, nope, everything that came out in all the novels and comic books is now not part of the main continuity. We're going to restart all that.
It kind of upsets me, but at the same time, it's like, as long as you keep making Vader comics, I'll be happy. That's the simplest.
Yeah, right. And then we also had some viewers chime in with their picks for current favorite cover artists. We've got Trad Moore. We've got Todd Noak. Like, I mean, some of these are really not expected, but it shows that comic book fans, we all like different stuff.
There's
no Humberto Ramos on there. That's another one that's
Ramos's stuff is really good. I like that.
Super slept on.
Oh yeah. His variant covers for I have him over there for both Marvel Comics 1000 and Spider-Man 1000 or Amazing Fantasy 1000. Sorry. Get all the 1000s mixed up at this point. Are phenomenal.
Amazing Fantasy 1000 is another one of those that came out and it's got like 57 variant covers for it. Because Momoko did a Virgin variant for it that they did a 5,000 copy run of only, and I was lucky enough to grab one before they sold out.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be getting my Spider-Man and Eminem variants from CGC back soon, so I'll let you know, JJ.
Oh wow!
How did that?
I feel like every time I talk, I think it mutes like Batman's audio, so I'm like careful. But how did that process go? Because that was a really interesting situation, like grabbing that book, because that was such like one of those things where a lot of fans were upset they couldn't get their hands on that book.
You're 100% correct, because it was so stressful because they just told us what day it was coming out, but they didn't give us a time. They didn't tell us how. So I remember my son, he was going through YouTube, listening to music. He likes a bunch of different things. And then I was like, okay, he ran to his room. I started going through, and then a song from Eminem came on. I think it was Venom, because he likes Venom, the movie. And there was I was like, oh, there was a little advertisement, and it showed the cover and it said the date. And I was like, what is that? So I got off of YouTube, got on my phone, and I was like, there's an Eminem Spider-Man cover coming out. So I went to Eminem's website. It's like Marshall Mathers. And he was personally releasing 500 of them. So I was like, oh no, I have to get one. He had the regular ones, and he had some signed from him. Don't get me wrong, I really tried getting the signed one, because right now they're like 3,000-4,000.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Out within seconds, like not even 2 seconds, it was done. I had to get on my phone, my girl's phone, and my backup phone just to buy one of the regular ones.
Dang.
Yeah, it was. I was like, I need it. I don't care.
That's like trying to buy Taylor Swift tickets.
Yeah, it's a beautiful.
And there it is.
Look at all the characters in the crowd, from Daredevil, Luke Cage, Alice. Beautiful.
It's super cool. I mean, yeah, it's very, very cool.
Those, I mean, we've all seen Eminem do covers with Iron Man and Punisher, and you can see how rare those are now. I had to get one.
So I found a link to, and you're right, it's $2,000, but I found a link to a signed copy. I've never seen Eminem's signature, so this is interesting to me. It's just Slim, it's, he's Slim Shady, right? And so it looks like just an S.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull this up.
And he does not sign stuff very often. Like, he doesn't do meet and greets with fans. He doesn't do autograph signings. He does not do that stuff.
And you're lucky if you even get a copy of his signature, because when he went to his he's done shows and he'll do like signatures, but he charges people like 1,500 to 2,000 for a signature.
Wow.
But I mean, he's up there for popularity. He's been around for so long.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. That much money for a signature.
Yeah.
There's certain celebrities out there. I'm like, do you really need to charge that much for a signature? With how much money you got in the bank, like, you really need to charge that much?
Mm-mm.
That's why I like the Star Trek actors. They all charge like 50, 60 bucks.
Yeah. I mean, what was it? It was I got my Hulk 181. Whether or not it's going to kill the value or not, it is what it is. But I sent it in to get signed by Hugh Jackman for CGC, and that was probably the priciest signature I've ever paid for. I think he was charging like 500, and this is like an icon, like this is Wolverine. This is one of the guys who started the whole culture of superhero movies. So I think that's my max. Like 1,500 is crazy.
It's going to actually go up because the last book that got an actor signature was the first appearance of Thor, the Journey into Mystery, signed by, what's his name? The guy who plays Thor?
Hemsworth. Yeah, Hemsworth.
That one, he signed it, they CGC'd it, and somebody sold it. I think it sold for almost 10,000.
Oh.
It's going to help your book, trust me, and that's a big book too.
Well, for me, yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing with collecting, right? For me, it's more about what the meaning it is, right? Like, this is Hugh, like this is one of the guys who brought it off, like much why I would like to get something signed by Toby down the road. And another guy who doesn't really do autographs, if you look online, Tobey Maguire is just like a tough get. Like, he is
for years, he would like refuse to do press. He refused to do any kind of like cons or like anything.
Yeah. But it's for now, I agree with you. It's interesting. I think a lot of actor signed books are worth more, like a lot more, which is very interesting. But we'll see if that, I mean, it's so funny. Things change every day, right? I remember when you used to not be like, don't get, I think it was cards in the 90s, like, don't get anything signed. It ruins the value. Like, I had Barry Bonds cards, and he doesn't do signatures either. But like, I remember like I had things like, and they're like, don't get it signed. Now, if you go look online, and at another hard get, an icon from our era, like Michael Jordan signed stuff is crazy. Like I would think that like it's such a common, he was around for so long, and he
was one of the people who did do a lot of signatures for people.
If you have a PSA verified like Jordan rookie or whatever signed by him, it's like, it's nuts. And so it's so funny how things change over time. Like, I remember card people being like, don't get it signed. It's going to ruin the value. And things change over time.
It's crazy that you say that, because even back in the day, for any comic book artist, nobody would like signing their name on the cover. I remember that. They would actually open the cover and sign it on the inside.
It is impossible to find. I only have one thing signed. Jack Kirby did not sign covers. He would refuse to sign covers.
Super rare. I've actually seen only one cover signed by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. This guy would not sell it, though. He would not sell it.
I don't blame him.
No.
That's an investment item.
Yeah,
right there. That's something you put in a safety deposit box. Like,
yeah.
I mean, Jack Kirby, he would not sign anything. I mean, I really wanted Jack Kirby. I'm still on the look. I got everyone else, but Jack Kirby's one of the ones I'm like, I can't let him get away. I can't.
All right. That's a future segment for JJ. Is who's the top autographs that you want to get in the comic industry? Because I mean, we could go. I don't want to like derail it and go against the grain with what this says, but like I would love to get a Ditko. I feel like he didn't sign. Again, I think a lot of the older ones that passed before things got huge, there's not a lot out there, right? And I think Kirby, you know, left Marvel, went to DC in the 70s. And so, but he also, when did he pass? I think it was the 80s or the 90s. And so you look at like some of the icons that aren't a lot out there, like Ditko, Kirby. I mean, I was trying to look the other day, Bill Finger. Like, there's nothing out there from Bill Finger. Like,
nothing. I have Bob Kane's signature. I cannot find Bill Finger. I can't.
He's like a Van Gogh because he wasn't appreciated. So like, it's not out there. It's crazy.
I haven't seen very many Bob Kane autographs either.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of resketches from him though.
Yeah,
because I guess he was real famous for writing on like waitresses' napkins and stuff. Like, I created Batman, and then he'll do like a little Batman sketch and sign it and then hand it to her, and they'd have like no idea who he was or why he just gave them this napkin with Batman drawn on it.
That Bob Kane was the primary reason why Stan Lee came out of his shell to be more outwards with people and being like, oh, I'll sign that, or hey, what's up, I created Spider-Man, or stuff like that. Because before, Stan Lee was real like quiet, shy, kept to himself. I actually from trading and interacting with so many people, I got the chance to meet some guy that moved here. He was in the military, but he used to have dinner, and he showed me photos with Stan Lee and Bob Kane, the older guy.
Oh man,
cool. He showed me his garage full of stuff. They would have sketching competitions with each other, and he would show me their sketches. I was like, oh, that's the one that has Stan Lee and Jack Kirby signature that I want so bad. He has Bob Kane's everywhere, Stan Lee's. It makes me so mad that he has so much stuff. But it's a really cool collection.